If you don't submit, roll over, the Biden, Obama, Clinton, deep state will imprison you. At least they'll try. When we as a nation behave like that, we become a banana republic, no better than a corrupt third world country. So the question becomes, does what's happening to staunch Trump ally, Republican Matt Gaetz of Florida, fall into this lock-em-up politics assault by the Democrats? The answer clearly is certainly a maybe. After the history of the Justice Department getting things wrong and persecuting Trump allies, I believe Matt Gaetz before I believe the FBI. Still, Gaetz is the subject of a very serious federal, quote, sex trafficking investigation that includes allegations of having sex with a 17-year-old. But Gaetz adamantly denies those allegations, and I mean adamantly, even claiming he's part of a wild $25 million extortion scheme run by former high-level government insiders. I say, let the investigation play out. Give the man due process. And let me be clear here. After more than a month, not one woman has surfaced to accuse the congressman of wrongdoing, and I can't tell you who the 17-year-old girl is or what her identity is, because the government has not revealed any evidence against him or filed any charges against him. But now there's a story out that Gaetz' buddy Joel Greenberg is backing the allegations up. If they're true, Gaetz deserves punishment. I think everyone agrees with that. But that, folks, is a very big if. So with that, who better to ask if they're true or not and what Joel Greenberg's motivations may be than Republican Congressman from Florida, Matt Gaetz himself. Congressman, I'd like to welcome you to the program.
Thanks for having me, Grant.
So what do you think? What do you say? They're true, the 17-year-old Greenberg, his motivations? Lay it on me.
I have not sex trafficked anyone. A 17-year-old, a person of legal age, these allegations are false. And as I've stated before, the anonymous allegations against me range from total distortions of my life to these crazy and wild conspiracy theories that will never be proven. But they always come for the fighters, Grant. Donald Trump Jr., Rudy Giuliani, Steve Bannon, Matt Gaetz. It's never the meek that they come for. It's always those who are fighting hard for the America First agenda, and I've got a lot of fight left in me.
All right, Matt, so the allegations are salacious. Of course they are, because that's what they do. Is there anything that you can think of that you regret? Man, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't travel with them. I didn't say this or do that. Is there anything out there you can think of now?
Of course, there are a ton of things in my life looking back that I wish I would have done differently, but none of them are criminal. None of this constitutes a crime. What you see from the government, I think, is really a politicization of the Department of Justice. And really that started under Barack Obama and Eric Holder, and then it continued over. I mean, you think about what they're doing to me, it has no comparison to the level of venom they brought against Donald Trump. You had an FBI lawyer literally change evidence before a secret court to try to get somebody and obtain surveillance on someone who they thought was close to Donald Trump. So if they would do that to the President of the United States, do you think it's the first time they've done it? Do you think it would be the last time they've done it? I think there's a lot of swamp left to be drained at the Department of Justice. I don't think that should be a place where we exact our politics. And I'm confident that in the end, the truth will prevail as to my conduct and as to others. I mean, Rudy Giuliani is an American patriot. The guy single-handedly brought down the mob in the Southern District of New York, and now they're going after him. It's despicable.
All right, lastly, any idea who the 17-year-old is they're talking about?
There is no 17-year-old that I had any sexual contact with as an adult man. Absolutely not, does not exist, did not happen. And I do think that you make an important point that we're now more than a month into anonymous allegations being leveled against me, and I'm unaware of a single person that has directly accused me of any misconduct.
All right, let me tell you what I think you've been doing right, not that you need to hear it from me. But you have come out so strong from the very beginning to denounce this. The government has yet to provide any evidence against you. And then the media jumps on board, of course, because they're working with the government. We know this to be true. Who in the world leaking these allegations to start with? And the media hypocrisy through all this, they got guys like Swalwell sleeping with Chinese spies. Feinstein was being driven around by a Chinese spy. You got Hunter Biden himself. What do you say, Matt, about the media hypocrisy in all of this?
Well, it's very rare that you actually get a confession on video. And that's what we have specifically from CNN. Thank goodness there are media organizations like Project Veritas that turn the cameras back on the liars. And at CNN, a director literally admitted that the reason they were propagandizing my life and running baseless stories over and over again is because I'm effective, because I actually stand and fight for the America First agenda and against the socialism that whatever's left of Joe Biden is trying to bring onto our country. And so I think that the level of effectiveness is typically tied to the level of venom that you get from the media. It's been very irresponsible of CNN, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and so many others to continue to run baseless stories about me. But at the end of the day, the great people in my district in Florida believe me. Those throughout the MAGA nation understand that this is false, and that's why we've got to turn our attention to what's happening in the country. And it's why I'm so excited that on Friday, Marjorie Taylor Greene and I are hosting an America First rally in the Villages at 7 p.m., and we certainly hope that a ton of patriotic Americans will attend and that we can get back to that spirit that Donald Trump brought to our politics, that is positive and optimistic and puts our people first.
I want to ask you this, because as you just heard me lay out, they play lock-em-up politics. The challenge for Republicans will be to stand up and not bow down to them. You're doing this by taking this show on the road. Most politicians would not do this. They may bow down. You're not. How important is this tour going around the country now for you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and really every America First conservative out there?
Trump rallies gave us this special opportunity to come together and show our patriotism, and I think we need to get America rallying again. The America First movement isn't going anywhere. In fact, we're going on tour, and you know what, Grant? We're going to call out the establishment in both political parties when they screw over our fellow Americans, whether it's through unchecked immigration, bad trade deals, or wars that send our bravest Americans to die in faraway lands for unknowable gain. There is a specific doctrine that President Trump brought to politics that realigned a very positive vision for America, and Marjorie Taylor Greene and I and many others are actually looking forward to sharing that out in the country.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the program, answering some tough questions, Matt Gaetz. I know I'm sure you'll get more of them, but take them head on. You're doing the right thing by fighting this with all the vigor you have. And again, I appreciate you coming on, Matt Gaetz. Thank you.
Hey, I come from a tough district. I'm a tough guy, and this is a tough movement. It's a movement for winners, and I hope to see everybody in the Villages on Friday.
Well, you got that right. Congressman Matt Gaetz, thank you for coming on the program.